Howdy. Hi, everybody. Sam Goodman bringing you another episode of really fucking scary stories. I hope that you are doing absolutely amazing wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, macabre, gruesome, and haunted world. We are coming to you live from the Pale Horse Media Co. studios in the wild, wonderful, and actually pretty haunted and sunny and beautiful downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Do me a favor, check out Pale Horse Media Co. by heading over to www.palehorsemedia.co for more. You can find this podcast. You can find Hey Y'all with Sam Goodman. You can find the Hot Nerd podcast. You can see a little bit of everything that we have going on, including all of the merch from your favorite Pale Horse Media shows. So head over to www.palehorsemedia.co for more. If you have any ideas of things that you would like for us to cover in upcoming seasons of really fucking scary stories, you can use that handy dandy contact form there. You can also head over to sugoodman.com for more about me, more about my books, more about the work and all kinds of other cool things that I'm into. You can also get a hold of me that way. Just head over, use the contact form. Let us know what you think. Do you like the show? Do you love the show? Do you want more of the show? Do you hate it? Just let us know. Also, if you have a few moments, go down and click some of those stars. Giving us those reviews helps us reach a wider audience, and it quite literally keeps the lights on here at Pale Horse Media Co. Studios. So give us a nice little review wherever you listen to podcasts. Do me a big favor. Make sure that you click that little subscribe button. And if you really like the show, share it with your friends. Let folks know. Share it to your Facebook. Share it to your Instagram. Go do all that kind of cool stuff and bring your friends to this really fucking scary party. It helps us an absolute ton. Again, like, share, subscribe, love, do all that kind of cool stuff. Leave us a little handy dandy review. Today is going to be super fun. We are well into season 2 of Really Fucking Scary Stories, and thank you for following along. If you have not listened to season 1, what are you doing? Go back and listen to those first 10 episodes. We've got this season that has just come out. It's going to be 10 fright-filled episodes. And then we're going to probably put out another season a few months after this one. So stay tuned. We're trying to bring you as much gruesome content, gruesome and diverse, right? Let's just say that, gruesome and diverse. We like to come in with some diversity around the morbid topics that we explore. And we've been hitting up some true crime. I've been in a little bit of a true crime kick. I'll just level with you. I think you probably noticed that at this point if you've listened to the first few episodes. But today we're going to dive into some haunting, actually some poltergeist stuff. I guess it's poltergeist stuff. I guess that works. We're going to dive into some poltergeistery. I don't know. But we're going to talk about the Enfield haunting, a.k.a. the Enfield Poltergeist. And we're going to try to do it all within inside of 30 minutes. So within inside of your little commute to or from work. If you're heading to work, you can get a little scare beforehand. If you're heading home, you can go home and be creeped out for the rest of the night. That's kind of sort of what we're shooting for, right? So here we go. The Enfield Poltergeist. The Enfield Poltergeist was a haunting or an occurrence of poltergeist-style activity that took place over an 18-month span, starting in the summer of 1977 and occurring, being inflicted upon Peggy Hodgson, her children, and over 30 eyewitnesses, including her neighbors, psychic researchers, journalists, and just general locals of the area. It was a pretty well-known occurrence of poltergeist activity. And when I say poltergeist, I mean like the normal kind of poltergeist stuff. Moving furniture, flying objects, knocks, bangs, noises, levitation, constant murmuring, voices, dreams. I mean, you name it. We'll talk about some of the specific activities that occurred, but most of the activity centered on the daughters, Janet and Margaret Hodgson, with the 11-year-old Janet acting as the conduit for a mysterious and gruff voice. It was known as the House of Strange Happenings, and I think this is a really good place to also say that it made its way to the big screen in a movie that you have probably seen. If you're anything like me, it's a movie that you probably enjoyed quite a bit too, and that's The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 focused on this supernatural case. It focused on the Enfield Poltergeist. Again, the story of a young girl thought to be possessed by a demon inside of her London home. So let's talk about what really happened during the case of the Enfield Poltergeist. It all started in a quaint little home in Enfield, London in 1977 when Peggy Hodgson, a single mother of 4 children, heard loud noises coming from her daughter's bedroom. When she went to tell her daughters, Margaret, 12 at the time, Janet, 11 at the time, to settle down and go to sleep. And now look, I've got a 6-year-old daughter. I know what that struggle is like. That struggle is real. If I heard noises coming from my daughter's room at night, I would just assume that she was in there causing a ruckus, right? That's what little kids do, right? They make noises. They don't want to go to bed. They do all of those kind of sort of things. So when Peggy heard those noises, she went to tell them to, hey, pipe it down. It's time to go to bed. You probably got school tomorrow. Either way, you're going to be grumpy if you don't go to bed. Again, got a 6-year-old. I know this battle. So she went to tell them to settle down, go to sleep. Instead of roughhousing, she found them huddled in the corner with terrified expressions affixed to their faces. One of the daughters, Janet, recalled, she said that, this is a quote from her, "We told our mom the chest of drawers was moving towards the bedroom door." The mom said, I think what any parent would probably say in that situation, WTF, whatever, stop being silly, go to bed. But then Peggy witnessed the drawers moving herself, and I would be like, oh, what the fuck? Right? So Peggy witnessed these drawers moving, and they were moving in the direction of the door by a seemingly invisible force, almost as if some supernatural presence was trying to trap the girls in the room. And when she went to try to push back against the dresser, there we go, I'll get that word out, dresser, it wouldn't budge. Terrified, the Hodgson family ran across the street to ask for help from one of the neighbors, Vic and Peggy Nottingham. When Vic went into the house to investigate, he too said that he heard those strange noises coming from around the home. The Hodgsons, what do you do, right? What do you do? Something's up. So they called the cops. They called the police. And even though one officer claimed to have seen a chair move clear across the room, they deduced that this was not a police matter. If I'm a copper, if I'm a police officer and I'm showing up and I'm like, oh fuck, the chair's just moving by itself, I'd be like, yeah, you know what, you're right, not police business. I hope that you all enjoy. Hope you figure this one out. You might want to call a priest of every religion, get some sage, maybe a crucifix. I don't know, but it's not for the police department. If something a real crime happens, give me a call back later. So the cops are like, peace out, see y'all later, enjoy. So the police were not a big help, I guess, in haunting. And I don't think that's something that they receive in their training. I don't think you go to police academy and get like Poltergeist 101. But according to the family, that was just the beginning of what would become a near 18-month haunting. Again, the family speaking here, talking to People magazine at the time, said we didn't understand what was happening. We went through periods where we just couldn't believe what happened, really. We just couldn't believe it. It was just frightening. We didn't like to be in our own house or anything. When the strange incidents continued, Peggy decided to call a popular UK publication, the Daily Mirror, to come out, investigate, let them look at these supposed supernatural occurrences. But when the reporter arrived at the house sat silent for hours. It's like the whatever was there knew the reporter was there and didn't want anybody, fucking up their digs. Like, okay, if I make a ruckus now, I might get actually caught. So it wasn't until the reporter was about to leave that something happened. Janet speaking here to the Daily Mail, the photographer came back and a Lego brick hit him above the eye. He still had the mark a few days later. And then Marie Gross came in on the case. So the Daily Mirror called the Society for Physical Research, which has been around for a really long time, if you want to go Google that, SPR, the Society for Physical Research, who sent Gross out to investigate the case. During his stay, Gross said he witnessed more than 2,000 different incidents of supernatural activity. So look, I'm not an expert here, but 2,000? Something's up, right? Something's going on. If you see, assuming that all 2,000 were true, strange, we won't even say supernatural, just say fucked up things. I saw 2,000 fucked up things. I think that I would be going, okay, something, whether it's supernatural or something else, it's fucked, right? Something fucked is happening right now, and we need to dig into what that is. Furniture turning over, cups filled with water, fires igniting, voices, levitation. The most frightening encounter that they had was when a curtain wrapped itself around Janet's neck next to her bed as if it were trying to strangle her or smother her. It was during this time in the house that the supposed poltergeist started speaking through Janet. The young girl would go into a trance-like state where she would speak in a deep, scratchy voice, claiming to be the ghost of a man named Bill Wilkins, who had died in the house years before. It was later proven that a man by that name was once a resident of the home and did in fact die of a hemorrhage while sitting in the living room. So, fuck that. Right? So it was proven. So I don't know if it was ever discovered if these folks had any knowledge of this man before, but whatever Janet was saying was aligning with factual events that occurred. The ghost would reportedly talk through Janet for hours at a time. Throughout the 18-month period, a number of additional paranormal researchers visited the house, including the famed demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, i.e. The Conjuring, Conjuring 2, all that kind of stuff, right? And Ed and Lorraine Warren are just, AKA badasses, or were badasses of the paranormal. So they got involved in this case as well. So here's a quote. Those who deal with supernatural day in and day out know the phenomena are there. There's no doubt about it, Ed said. Of course, many cast doubt on the events, claiming that the children were behind these elaborate hoaxes. They were faking demonic symptoms. Two SPR experts adamantly questioned Janet's gruff voice and later caught the children bending spoons themselves. So there was some evidence and some thought that was backed up by some possible evidence that maybe the kids were just staging all of this stuff themselves, and maybe even along with the mother as well. And so this is where it gets a little wonky because, in fact, Janet admitted that she and some of her siblings had fabricated a few events. So, once or twice we faked it just to see if Mr. Gross and Mr. Playfair would catch us. They always did. So their explanation of this is that we just wanted to kind of test the waters, and if we faked it, to see if they were the real deal, like if they could catch us, if this was real. But the rest of it, according to them, was real. So it is kind of out there and kind of like, that's a little fishy. Right, if you faked one or two, maybe you faked them all. But she later said it was about 2%, only 2 out of 100 of the events in the house were faked. Nearly 40 years later, Janet and Margaret say that while they've managed to move on from the traumatic time in their life, that it still stays with them. So where we're at, we've got a mother, her daughters, they're experiencing some crazy, fucked up things. They've involved SPR. Ed and Lorraine Warren are involved in the case. There's some reporters involved in the case, some photographers. There's been a lot of documented evidence, as we said, up to 2,000 occurrences. But the waters have been muddied with the admission that the daughters have faked a certain amount of these. So it does cast some doubt on the entire story. But out of those 2,000 cases, I guess the real question would be, is could those little girls really fake 2,000 occurrences and truly fool a whole slew of people that are air quotes experts in this field? Who knows? Who knows, right? So let's talk a little bit about the paranormal investigation. As we said, the Society for Physical Research, SPR, members Maurice Gross, Guy Lyon Playfair reported curious whistling and barking noises coming from Janet's general direction. Playfair maintained that the hauntings were genuine and wrote later in his book that the book called This House is Haunted, the true story of Poltergeist, which came out in 1980, that an entity was to blame for the Enfield disturbances. He often doubted the children's veracity and wondered if they were playing tricks and exaggerating. Still, Gross and Playfair believed that even though some of the alleged